Hey, evening all.
Good evening as well.
I was worried for a minute. I didn't get any email confirming that I was approved or anything, so I just sat here waiting
Did
in
you
anticipation.
did you check the thing? I think it's called the SharePoint site where it says
Yeah, yeah.
that you're okay, because that's where you would see it.
All right. Fair enough.
And now that I said that, I can't find that page.
I don't know that I can share, but let's see if I can put it in the chat. I don't know if you're referring to that particular page with all the names.
There we go. That looks right. I thought I had that saved.
There's also this link, which is where you sign up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's the top of the hour. I'm on Eastern time, so it's 6 o'clock. And I know we've got folks across the country here, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Cindy Horton. I am the Acting Director for the Project Management Network's Education Committee. Our previous director had to step down a couple of here, bear with me for a moment, okay? See if we have anybody. I may have to stay out of presentation mode. That looks like we're all in. Let me start over. Good evening, everybody. My name is Cindy Horton. I am the Director of the Project Management Network's Education Committee. Our organization, our committee, is responsible for conducting our PMP exam prep workshop. And we do that several times a year, and I'm excited to be able to have the opportunity to share with you this evening a lot of the details around that this particular workshop and to answer any questions that you might have as we get prepared to start classes next week. So I just wanted to remind everybody that that we are recording this evening. So if you miss anything, you don't have to take notes or whatever, you can always go back and look over the recording. And of course, you can also use the chat to be able to. Oh, yes, I am speaking. Okay, so y'all can hear me. Good. All right, perfect. All right, very good. I see the chat there, and we've got somebody who has a little bit of a challenge. But anyway, we're excited to be able to do the class again this semester, if you want to call it that, and excited that you've joined to learn more about it and that you're looking at pursuing your certification. It's really a worthwhile endeavor. I've been with the company for about 24 years, and I've been volunteering with the PMN for, 4 or 5, maybe more. I passed my PMP exam in 2017. The exam's changed. I think it changed a little bit, or maybe a good bit after I took the exam. But by staying engaged with the PMN, I've been able to stay familiar with the format of the exam. And as I mentioned earlier, I just recently assumed the role of the director for the education committee, so I'm learning quite a bit more about the certification process as it currently stands today. But very excited to be here this evening to go over everything with you and to answer any questions that you might have. Hopefully I've got a pretty thorough presentation for you this evening. And it shouldn't really take us more than about 45 minutes, if that. It just depends on any of the questions that come up. So let's go ahead and get started. As I was mentioning before I stopped for a moment, we are recording this evening, so if you don't want to be recorded, you will need to drop, and then you can always come back and review the recording after that. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. The purpose of this orientation is really about producing alignment. So prior to an orientation session, there's typically a lot of confusion. Like I'm sure y'all probably have a bit of a number of questions that you need clarified. After this session, you should feel a lot less confused about what to expect and, of course, the steps to take this journey to achieve your PMP certification. Getting these admission notifications, forgive me. After this orientation session, you'll know or learn details about the Project Management Network or PMN and our role in your journey. You'll learn a little more about the PMP certification and what it can mean for your career and your earnings potential. You'll understand the general process for getting your PMP certification. And additionally, you'll know what the requirements are for sitting for the exam and some of the details about the exam. And finally, you'll know what to expect from this PMP exam prep workshop and the expectations of you that will help ensure your success. Okay. First, I want to talk a little bit about the Project Management Network. The Project Management Network is an employee group, or an EG, that's run 100% by employees and retirees who volunteer their time to help their colleagues here at AT&T to acquire skills and experience to enhance their professional development and to work in the community to promote opportunities through various programs. In addition to producing the PMP Prep course and other PMI.org certification courses, we also provide opportunities to earn free professional development units, or PDUs, by hosting speakers who speak on a variety of project management related topics. These classes are valuable in their own right. They're free, first of all, but especially so for those who have passed the certification exam and wish to maintain this hard-earned credential. To maintain the PMP credential, all are required to earn 60 PDUs over a 3-year time frame. Since we are a volunteer organization, PMP certification holders can also earn PDUs by volunteering for the many opportunities the PMN offers. For example, I earn PDUs by volunteering as an instructor, but I also volunteer for other efforts, such as with DECA, who we're partnering with right now, to help their high school students to learn more about the project management profession. There are several committees that focus on these various aspects. The Education Committee, as I've mentioned, is responsible for organizing and hosting our PMI.org certification prep courses, which include PMP, CAP-M, and the ACP courses. Whether you have your PMP certification yet, I invite you to join the PMN employee group if you haven't already and get involved by volunteering with us. Just simply go to the EG webpage, which is, link is listed right down here at the bottom of the page, and you just click on the link and join us, and it's free, and you'll begin to get some communications from us, not a ton of them, but you will get communications about all that's happening with the PMN. Okay. So why get your project management professional certification? PMI.org espouses that the PMP certification proves you have the project leadership and expertise in any way of working, whether that's in predictive, hybrid, or agile environments. It demonstrates your ability to lead projects without being tied to any specific industry or geographic location. The organization has found in their survey across 21 countries that 33% of those with the PMP certification report higher median salaries than those without the PMP certification. Additionally, there are 1.7 million PMP certification holders worldwide, with top countries including China, the United States, and Canada. As you consider your career possibilities, you'll find that not only do you have a significantly large network once you become PMP certified, but that you will also have the respect and acknowledgement for what the PMP certification represents, much like your educational degrees represent to those in a position to hire or influence hiring decisions. So it can be very beneficial to you to have this, and I'm sure many of you already know that, or you wouldn't be here this evening, but just wanted to point out some statistics around this particular certification. So let's look at the high-level process for earning this valuable credential. First, you'll need to sign up for and complete a 35-hour class, which is what the PMN offers. Concurrent with the class, you'll be studying and using practice exam simulators to test your knowledge and to get used to the format of the test questions. Next, you'll apply for the exam online. Part of the value of this class is that we will help you with that through our mentoring component. It takes about 3 to 5 business days to get PMI's approval to take the exam. It's very important for you to work with your mentors on your application to ensure that it's completed properly so as to avoid as much as possible an audit, which can prolong the application process. Now, I'll stop there for a moment before I go on to tell you that when I applied, I ended up getting audited. And I don't think it was necessarily an error that I made on the exam. I filled out my application just like a peer of mine did. He and I were partnering together. And he looked over it, had a couple other people look over it. It should have been just perfectly fine. So I don't believe it was because there was an error, but because PMP or the PMI.org does select a certain percentage of applications to audit. So it may have, I tend to think that that was probably why. It just was my lucky day and I was selected for audit. But it wasn't a difficult process to go through. I just had to go through a little bit more attestation from some managers to attest to the work that I had documented. Once you're approved to take the exam, you can then schedule a date and time to either virtually or at a testing center to take the exam. You'll know on the day of the exam whether you passed it, and then you'll be PMP certified. PMI will provide you with a digital badge then that you can use to demonstrate your achievement. PMN, the Project Management Network, will also do the same if you let us know that you passed. The PMN badge can then be displayed proudly in Teams. If you're not familiar with where that is, we'll be happy to show you where that is, but it's easy to get to in Teams. We'll be talking about costs associated with the certification a little bit later. However, I would encourage you to consider PMI.org membership. There are many benefits to being a formal PMI.org member, including discounts for their certification exams and certification renewal fees. Additionally, you receive free access to the digital version of the Project Management Book of Knowledge, or PMBOK, which is the centerpiece reference document for the exam. So now let's just, let me stop there for a moment. I know it'll go pretty quickly. Are there any questions at this point? All right, great. Let's continue on. Let's review the PMP requirements and the high-level details about the exam. To be approved to sit for the PMP, your application must include verifiable evidence of completion of the 35-hour prep course, your formal education, and your experience leading or managing projects. If you have a high school or a secondary school diploma, you'll need to document at least 60 months of non-overlapping project management experience. If you have a bachelor's degree or higher, you'll need to document at least 36 months of non-overlapping project management experience. This experience must be within the last 8 years. Again, PMI.org will not recognize overlapping project work. If you're like me, my project management experience, usually I've been working on 2 or 3 or 4 different projects right at a time, but you can only document one of those projects over that period of time. Okay, so it's non-overlapping project management experience that you'll be documenting. If you have the CAP-M certification, this can substitute for the 35-hour prep course. So if any of you have taken and passed the CAP-M exam, you won't need this 35-hour prep course in order to apply for the exam. Okay. About the exam itself, there are 180 questions on this exam, and they give you 230 minutes to take the exam, and that includes 2 10-minute breaks. Certainly encourage you to take those breaks as well. You'll certainly need them, and you'll realize that once you're there. So don't rush through the exam and think you need to forego those 10-minute breaks. It is a pass-fail exam. You won't receive a score. The scoring, or what the output is that they give you, will tell you basically at which level of proficiency that you are in the 3 domains that the exam covers. 42% of the questions will be about managing people, 50% will be about processes, and the other 8% will be about business environment. The exam leverages different question types, including multiple choice, matching, fill in the blank, and hotspot. If you're not familiar with what a hotspot kind of question is, or the format of that type of question, it's a type of question where you interact with an image or a visual. Instead of selecting an answer from a list or options, you're required to click on a specific area of the image to indicate your answer. This format tests your ability to identify and apply concepts in a more practical visual context. For example, you might be shown a project management diagram and asked to click on the part that represents a critical path or a specific project phase. This type of question helps assess your understanding of visual and practical aspects of project management. Okay. Sure. A question?
No, I don't have a question, but I just thought I'll mention that when you have the break, they say that you cannot go back to the previous questions, which you can review. So I think that's the only difference. If you take a break, then you cannot go back to the previous questions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can, at the end of the hours, you can actually review everything and then submit. But if you take a break in between, then you cannot go back.
Well, actually, even if you don't take the break, after every 60, it's after every 60 questions. I just took it in July, so you take the first 60, then you have a break. They offer you a 10-minute break, but even if you forego it to get to the next section, you still can't review the first 60 questions after that.
They have changed it then, because earlier they said that if you take the break only, then you cannot review. But looks like they have changed that too.
Yeah. There's always some nuances or things that may change with the the exam. So that's why it's great to have our mentors, right? Our mentors are going to have been generally people who've recently taken the exam, or they've interacted with other, with folks who have finished the exam, come back and reported on their experience with the exam. So we get these all nuances, right, and they get covered in our mentoring sessions. So that's great feedback. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. So let's talk now about the PMM PMP exam prep workshop. We're going to go ahead and shift on over into that. Okay. So first of all, this exam prep workshop is for experienced project managers. As you saw before, you're going to have to document experience anywhere from 36 months to 60 months or more, right, over the last 8 years. So if you're a new project manager, you don't have very much experience, it may be that right now this isn't the exam for you or the certification for you. If you have any concerns or questions about that, we're happy to answer them. You can feel free to reach out to me personally. We definitely have paths for helping you to get this experience that you may need in order to pursue a PMP or PMI.org certification. Okay. This workshop does provide you with the required 35 education hours needed to complete the PMP application. You must attend a minimum of 17 out of the 20 classes to receive the PMN certification of completion. Now, if you don't take the whole 35 hours, if you don't attend the whole 35 hours, if you still do the recordings and you let us know, I believe we still give you credit for the 35 hours. But you must, communicate with us about that, okay? But this does provide you with the full 35 hours to receive that certification of completion, okay? The classes occur on Monday and Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time for 10 weeks. Now, we don't usually go the whole 2 hours. The average is about 1.75 hours per class, okay, which gets us to the 35 hours. But sometimes the content does run right up to the 2-hour mark. So we just want to set, the expectations with you. Do plan to be there for the whole 2 hours, but understand most of the time they're going to finish, ahead of that, with the average being about 1.75 hours per class. Okay. As soon as we confirm all who have paid for the bundle, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit, you'll be sent the meeting series no later than this upcoming Monday. So I know you don't have this meeting series on your calendar yet, but it will be on there no later than Monday, again, starting at 5 p.m. Central Time, okay? This workshop covers 6 lessons total, and within those lessons, we'll typically cover 2 topics. The content is divvied up into topics, so we'll generally cover about 2 topics per lesson, okay? And then our classes are recorded, but again, to get the most from the class, you do need to attend. It is required that you be at the classes to attend in person in order to get credit for your submission for your application. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next. Okay. So PMN. I'm going to skip down here to the student bundle here for a minute, not going in order just yet. PMN charges $200 for the PMN prep class, which includes the PMI.org authorized student bundle. In that bundle, you'll receive all training slides and any worksheets. Also included is a key code that you will use to apply for the PMP exam. You'll have access to the materials and be able to use the exam code for up to a year from the date of purchasing the bundle. The course content alone, of course, will not secure your success. You'll need to purchase other supplementary resources, and the ones listed here are really what we consider to be the minimum requirement. The costs vary on whether you purchase a print copy or a digital copy, or whether you apply a promo or a discount code if one's made available to you. Starting with the PMBOK guide, there are 2 PMBOK guides. As I mentioned earlier, PMBOK stands for Project Management Book of Knowledge. There are 2 of those that you should acquire. The 7th edition is the latest edition. However, it is not a replacement for the 6th edition. Okay, The 6th edition is the daddy, and you need to have it. It covers a lot of process information, a lot of the vernacular that you need to be very familiar with. So I highly encourage you to get both of these. You will need them in order to make sure you have all the information you need in order to pass this exam. Okay. You'll also want the Agile Practice Guide and the Process Groups a Practice Guide. You can get these from Amazon in hard copy, just like you can get the PMBOK in hard copy, as well as in digital format through Kindle, right? And I will tell you that, of course, the prices I'm showing up here, I just checked Amazon. This is what they were for the hard copies. The digital copies will be a little bit less, not a lot less, but a little bit less. Let's see, if you're a PMI member, a digital version, if you're a PMI.org member, a digital version is included with the membership. Up in the upper left-hand corner of the slide I've showed you here, the PMI.org membership is $149 a year. So, you get their resources, which are the PMBOK Guide, 7th edition, not the 6th. You get the Agile Practice Guide, and you get the Process Groups, a practice guide for a digital download. It's included with your membership. So I think I would very much encourage you to get the membership for a number of reasons, but this being one of them. We also recommend that you... Sure.
Cindy, I got a quick question for you. So the PMBOK, I think that was a bit, so I believe I downloaded that with my PMI, joining the PMI. So, but is the 6th edition, is that not available through that? Do I have to purchase that like some other
you'd
Amazon
have to purchase
or whatever?
it separate. Yeah, you'll have to purchase it separately. They didn't keep it as a downloadable for us, okay?
So
Okay, thank you.
I have a follow-up question to that. So you said Agile Practice Guide. Do we also have to purchase that? It doesn't come with a membership?
It does come with the membership. So the 2 practice guides here, the Agile and the Process Groups, that is included with the PMI.org membership.
Okay.
Okay? So just, I want to make sure I'm real clear too, right? There's 2 memberships. There's PMN, Project Management Network, right? You don't get anything free in terms of these resources, right, through our membership, right? But there's the PMI.org membership, the sponsoring body of the PMP certification, right? So I just want to make sure I'm real clear with you on that one. The PMI.org membership at $149 a year will give you downloadable access to the 7th edition PMBOK and the Agile Practice Guide, as well as the Process Guide, a Practice Guide. These 3 that are shown in the upper right-hand corner. Okay? All right, very good. We also recommend that you get a study guide by either Rita Mulcahy or Andy Crow. You can get that on Amazon as well. It is a little bit more pricey, but I can tell you it's worth it. It's very explicit, explains a lot of the ins and outs of the exam, tricks and trades and things of that nature. It breaks down the content. The PMBOK guide is very useful, but it's also very dry. It's more textbookish is what I would kind of maybe call it, whereas the study guides are a bit more practical and will take the concepts and apply them. And make it more understandable, which is your goal here. You don't want to set out necessarily for memorization of concepts. You want to understand the concepts. And the Rita Mulcahy or the Andy Crow books do a great job of illuminating those concepts for you. Okay, so we highly recommend one of those, either one. I'm sorry?
This is Ranjit again. So I think there is a study hall. There is an app which PMI gives, and that's something like $49 per quarter. It has got like 200 questions for kind of like testing your knowledge. I think that is also one good source.
Yes,
study hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, there are tons of resources that are accessible to. I'm giving you the top ones here that we're very familiar with and have used. But to Ranjit's point there, also on the PMI.org website, they have plethora of resources that they promote to be able to help you in this journey as well. So there's not one overall approach or set of resources that you can use. But again, in your mentoring sessions, y'all will talk about these resources as well as these additional resources at PMI.org, and you'll be able to tailor the set of resources that maybe work best for you. And based off the cost as well, because I know this is, you see these costs here, they're not small costs, right? Everybody has a different kind of budget, but you'll be able to have access to a great number of resources that you can tailor for your budget. Okay? Thank you, Ranjit. I appreciate you reminding me about that.
Hi, this is Melanie. I had one question. Do we need both the 6th and 7th edition of the PMBOK, or is one or the other okay?
I recommend both. Okay.
Okay.
The 6th edition is it has all the information, a lot of the bulk of the information that you're going to need to know about process groups, right? So you see this practice guide here. Out of that 6th edition is where you're going to get a lot of the information, the meat of the information around process groups. The 7th edition is not. The 7th edition is a more modern view of project management and describes those changes, that the PMI has brought forth from their research over the last few years. So I do recommend that you get both of them, okay? That you have them for access. You're welcome.
So I have a question as well, Cindy.
Sure.
You made reference to the Mulcahy and the Andy Crow study guides. Are they tied to a particular edition of the PMBOK as well? Like, do they have a 6th edition version and a 7th edition version, or is there only one copy of those out there?
You'll always want to get the most recent version, right? So Rita Mulcahy is up to the 11th edition right now. You don't need to go backwards. She replaces hers. And I'm not sure about Andy Crow. I don't know if anybody else on here who's taken it, because I know we've got some veterans on here. If anybody knows more about the Andy Crow, but I tend to think it's probably the same. Their latest edition will prep you for the exam in total.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Ranjit. So I think you're right. Latest version will cover the latest PMBOK guide, and in a lucid manner, rather than as Cindy said that PMBOK is very what you can say, very it's not lucid to be honest.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Yes, it's not like application, right? It's information, not application necessarily.
It's just information. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rita Mulcahy is also, the latest edition will mention that, what PMBOK guide they're covering. Even if you have old version, I think it will cover most of the stuff. But then the important part is that exam is changing, right? So some portion, let's say now people has got like more than 45% questions are coming from, process area. So the latest version of Andy Crow or Rita Mulcahy will be covering that in a better way. That is the only difference. So go for the latest version, edition. Sorry.
Exactly. Okay. All right, and then as I mentioned earlier, you'll want to be practicing taking the exam. There are plenty of practice guides out there. We have a lot of experience with the examwizard.com and have found that that's very useful and it helps our students to get prepared. But there are others as well. Again, PMI.org offers a simulator as well, and you'll be able to purchase that if you want to. They do charge extra for that. But plenty of options out there. And again, your mentoring circles will help to give you, some more information about those types of simulators as you go forward. But you'll want to be using a simulator and practicing taking the exam over and over and over again. Where we have a code here that you can use for the Exam Wizard if you like to. It gives you 50% off. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that is a lifetime access. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you get lifetime access to the Exam Wizard when you pay that fee. Okay. And then lastly, the exam fee itself. The exam fee is $675 if you're not a PMI.org member, but I believe you get $250 off of that cost if you are a PMI.org member. So the net of it is, and my recommendation is, if you know you're going to take the exam, you feel like you're going to commit to doing that within the next year, and hopefully you do it sooner, then it's best to go ahead and become a PMI.org member. It will more than pay for itself the first year because of the discount off of the exam and the access to the various resources we've covered here. Okay. Any other questions about the workshop materials?
Hey, Cindy, I have a question about the previous page about the PM experience. Who and how is that validated?
For the education hours?
No, for the first bullet is for experienced project manager, right? You were saying, and we need to have, a number of years of experience on it. How is that validated, and who validates it?
So in your application, when you're filling out your application online, right, with PMI.org, you're going to be documenting, what projects you worked on. They're going to prompt you for the details that they want about your experience. Now, will they go back and validate? No, they're not going to call people up, call your references up and say, oh, did Ranjit complete that? Was he a project manager back then? But as I mentioned earlier, your application could be audited. And at that point, then yes, you would have to go back and get whoever you said, oversaw you over that project or whatever, your supervisor, they would need to sign a document that says, yes, indeed, Ranjit was a project manager and he did X type of work as a project manager.
Okay. Thanks, Cindy.
Along with the application, and this is Ranjit again, sorry. You have to also submit your resume, so they will be cross-checking your resume and your application, and it gives them the idea as to what was your experience over the period, and at what point in time you worked on what kind of projects and what activities you performed during that period, right? So they'll do some cross-referencing.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
sure.
You're welcome. I would say the PMI.org is pretty. Yes, go ahead. Hi, Trish.
Hey, it's Trish. Hi. I didn't know if you wanted to mention. I know that you've gone through a lot of costs and a lot of the, requirements and things like that. We have gotten a new code, which the old code that PMI did give us. So if you are a member of PMN, Project Management Network, and you become a member of PMI, you will also get a code that we will give you that you will be able to use as a discount. So you'll get an additional 10% off. So all these fees that Cindy was going over that were from PMI.org, right? Like the test fee, the PMI membership fee, things like that. You guys will be able to use this discount code that we can provide you as long as you're a member of PMN and you sign up to be a member of PMI. You'll also get this code from us as well. So I just wanted to mention that. We're just finalizing the last pieces of that because I know that you went through a lot of costs, and I wanted to share that as well.
Yes. So thank you, Tricia. That's a great benefit that comes from being a PMN member. And as I think I'll probably mention later, and it's absolutely free to be a member of the PMN. Okay, but another benefit that we offer our membership.
So is it advisable to get that code before we submit the PMI membership, right? Because I'm a PMN member right now. Oh, okay.
Yes.
And do we reach out to you?
Not to me, but when you guys are ready, right? We'll confirm. Cindy and I will, or Cindy will be able to communicate with you guys. Whoever's signing up will be able to communicate that process. We're still in the process of finalizing a few things with PMI, but once you guys are ready to do all that, we'll be able to send you guys that code and confirm the logistics for you.
Thanks, Patricia.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm.
And if anybody is a
okay.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, if
Yeah, go
anybody's
ahead.
a student at a university anywhere getting some additional education, the student bundle for the PMI is only $32 plus a $10 registration fee, which is a really good deal. So any students out there, just heads up.
Cool.
And I just wanted to mention, because there are some folks that are on here that do have their PMP. If you already have your PMP and you already are a PMI, you already are a PMI member, this discount code goes for you as well. So when you go for your renewal and things like that, you guys can utilize that too. So just let us know and we can get that over to you. As long as you're a PMI.
As long as you're a PMN member. You just cut out for a moment there, Trish.
Yes, yes. You have to be a PMN member. Yes,
member. Oh, goodness. All righty. All right, let's talk for a moment real quickly about keys to success. We want you to be successful in achieving the PMP certification. However, I want to be very, very clear with you. You will not pass the PMP certification exam by attending classes only and having a passive approach to studying. You must decide to commit to purposeful studying, learning, and understanding project management principles and processes in order to pass the exam. I can't stress this enough to you. This class alone, in fact, any prep class that you might take alone will not result in you passing the exam. The time commitment is outlined, as I've outlined here, is for most people to be successful. Of course, it involves attending the classes to get your 35 hours of education, but you must then commit to spending time reading the PIM box, as dry as they can be sometimes, I'm sorry to say. You've got to be reading the Agile and Essential Scrum guides, studying the PMI student bundle materials, and also we recommend an additional 2 hours studying other resources like the Mulcahy or the Crow book, and practicing those exam questions on a regular basis. You'll also spend time attending your mentoring circle and working on tasks that come from there in order to prepare you. The more time you put in, assuming it's well planned and executed, the quicker you'll be prepared to take and pass the exam. So we estimate that, a successful student will end up spending anywhere from 9 to 10 hours a week over a 4 to 5 month period, starting from the time we take the course, okay? For me personally, and I just give you my personal testimony, so to say, I took this course, right? I know for sure I was not prepared to go ahead and now take the exam and pass it. I hadn't been putting in all the hours of study yet. What I did was the study after that, okay? And I got a partner, and we just hunkered down, and we went through the PMBOK a couple of times. We went through the Mulcahy book a couple of times, and then that last couple of weeks we were just, with our head down on practicing those exam questions. So you're going to have a strategy for how you want to do this, right? But again, you want to do it in the shortest amount of period of time. I would say over the course of this class, and then a month or two after the class, no more than 60 days after it, put those 9 to 10 hours per week in, and you should do well on the exam, okay? All right. So as a quick recap about what you should know more about now, of course, you know more about the Project Management Network. I'd certainly love to invite you to be a member if you're not already a member. You know more about the PMP certification and what it can mean for your career and your earnings potential. You'll now be recognized just like many professionals across the world. You also know the general process for what it's going to take for getting your PMP certification, and you also know the requirements and the exam details, right? And then lastly, you know what to expect from the PMP exam prep workshop as I've described it to you, and of course the expectations of you in order to be successful, okay? And that was the main thing. Okay, so what's next? Okay, so I have a little bit of a checklist here, call to action. First, we'd like for you to join the PMN ERG if you haven't already done it. We'd also like you to go ahead and register for a PMI.org account. You can do that today. It's free. You don't even have to pay anything to join or to register for an account with PMI.org. and I'm sure they'll be happy to communicate all the things that they offer after you do that registration. We want you to bookmark the link to the 2024 October PMP course. That's where you're going to be able to get all the details about this particular course as we go forward, the schedule and so forth, and any other additional details about the course. You'll need to purchase the student bundle if you haven't already, and again, that needs to be done by the end of this week in order for you to attend the class starting next week. I'd also like you to write out your why, for doing this, right? Because you're going to get going down this path of attending the classes, reading this content and everything, and then the job and the holidays or things with the kids are going to come into your path, and you're going to get distracted. Trust me, you'll get distracted, and you might start waning a bit on your commitment. But if you know why you're doing this and you've written that down and you look at that from time to time, it will fortify you and solidify your commitment to getting through this process. And then I'd also encourage you to, enlist the support from your family and friends, right? Let your family know now, if you haven't already, that you're going to be dedicating some time to this effort, and that you really need their support because, I know my little girl, she didn't at the time, she, didn't always understand why I was going and, doing my education stuff, right? But I had to sit down and explain it to her, and the time commitment that I was making and what it would mean for us in our future if I achieved what I was setting out to do. So I encourage you to write out your why. Why are you doing this? Okay. I mentioned a study buddy. That was key to my success. When I do some of the classes later on, you'll hear me say it again. I can't say it enough. It really did help me to get over the line to have a partner. And he encouraged me. I encouraged him. We shared different things that we understood or learned, and it was the key to me getting through the exam. You'll want to go ahead and start setting a date for that exam, right? If you know you're going to take it 30 days after this class finishes or 60 days, then get that down on the calendar and remind yourself of that as part of your why, okay? And then attend to get the most from the classes, of course, right? Review your why before you come to class. Review the material before you come to class. You just flip through the slides. See what we're going to cover. You may, see something that you might not be familiar with that you might want to ask a few more questions about when we get into the class. Having some discussion really makes the class all the more, meaningful for all the participants if you have an idea of what the content's about before we get there. Also, have a small meal and hydrate before you come to class, right? Don't eat a big meal, but get you a little snack of something with some protein in it so that you're not, hankering for, food an hour or two later. Sometimes if you haven't eaten much during the day, too, it can cause you some problems. And we'll, of course, take a break generally during the class, but it's usually only about a 5-minute break, not really much time to go grab something, sufficient to eat. But try to have a little small meal and hydrate, of course, before you come to class. Be on time. We'll typically start 5 minutes after the hour, but don't call that your starting time, right? Be on time for the class and be ready to go. We'll ask you to apply the mute button, when you're not talking, and anytime you'll be able to ask questions, of course, throughout the presentation of the material. And as I mentioned earlier, always feel free to ask those questions at any time. And your instructor will kind of lay out those guidelines before we get started. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the average class is going to be about an hour and 3/4. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit more time to yourself. The class will end a little earlier. Use that time wisely. Review that material that we just covered after the class. And make some notations about what you might need to delve into more to solidify your understanding, okay? And then lastly, attend all the mentoring sessions. The mentoring piece, I can't stress to you how important that mentoring piece is of this whole program, right? Now, there's not many programs that do this that I know of, right? So we've got a wonderful mentor leader. She's pulled together a number of mentors that are just really committed to your success. We're automatically going to put you in a group based off your time zone. We try to make that so that it's easy and convenient for you to attend your mentoring sessions. But if for some reason that particular date and time doesn't work for you, let your mentor know, okay? And she'll work to see if we can find another mentoring session, a mentoring group that might work better for your particular situation. But if you can't attend, please let the your mentor know. They prepare content for you. They try to, make sure that they're getting you prepped, for the application and so forth, give you input on that, and try to encourage you along in this path to getting your certification. So if you can't attend, it's just, respectful to let them know that you won't be able to attend. Then, of course, and then just reach out to one of your mentor or mentees and see if you can get any notes from that session that you missed. Now, you don't have to be part of the mentoring sessions if you don't want to. Again, we automatically set you up with a mentoring group. If you decide that's just not for you, you want to try to do it on your own without the mentoring piece of it, that's perfectly fine. Just let your mentor know, okay? It won't hurt their feelings, okay? All right. I think that covers everything that I wanted to make sure we covered this evening. Are there any other questions?
Hi, Cindy. I have a quick question for you. And I don't know if this
Sure.
will be uploaded somewhere else, but is there a way to send the deck that you were going over tonight?
Yes.
Or
Yes, I'm glad you.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to attach it right now before we get off the call, so make sure y'all have it. And I think
Phenomenal. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So I just attached it here. So yeah, feel free to go back through it. And those links are live, so I tried to put as many useful links in there as possible for you. Okay.
I have a question too. Are there certain chapters that we should be reading before each class?
As you look at the content and the topics, it will certainly point you in the right direction. Okay. And so the schedule, have y'all looked at the schedule, or do y'all know where the schedule is? The class schedule. Here, let me put it up. You may have seen it, but you will once you click on some of the one of the links that I put in the deck there. But this is the schedule. Let me expand it up a little bit so you can see. So, for example, on scope, okay, on October 23rd, we're going to be talking about scope. Okay, so easy to point you. That you'll go to the PM, the PMBOK, or your resource, one of your resources, right? And you'll look up scope, and you can study that whole chapter ahead of the class. Okay. But no, we don't give you, just hey, go to this chapter and read this chapter before coming to class. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Right.
I put this in the chat, but is there a way to confirm that you've seen that we've purchased the student bundle?
Yes, we can. If you'll send me a note, I can verify that we've gotten your payment. I'll just have to go look at the resource. I don't have immediate access to that resource to tell you right now, but I'll be glad to go and look if you need me to verify that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yes, another question, Cindy. So there was a link posted by Alan at the beginning, before the class started, about the roster that's available online, the SharePoint roster of who signed up. My name and another individual have it's blank. It doesn't say awaiting orientation like most everybody else in the class. Is there a reason for that, or?
I do not know, Stephen. I'll be honest with you.
That's fine.
So you just don't see your name in that roster, is what you're telling me, right?
No, I see my name. It's just the status says it's just blank. Everybody else in the link has awaiting orientation as the request status. Most everybody. There's some withdrawals in that list and such, but
yeah. No, I wouldn't worry about that. It's okay.
Okay.
It's just Brian probably hasn't gotten an opportunity to go over and update those
All right.
blanks.
Sounds good. Thanks.
And just a point of clarification, so the student bundle is $200 plus
Yes,
the PMI.org membership is $149. So essentially
that's correct.
$350 for that. Okay, all right.
That's correct. Yep.
Hey, Cindy, this is Jara. I just have a quick question. When can we expect to receive the placeholders or the invites for these classes?
I talked to Brian today, and he said he was going to send them out on Monday, so it'd be Monday morning. It'll be the actual meeting series. So if you will manually just slide a placeholder in there for yourself at the moment, you will see that meeting series come sometime on Monday.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
This is Sherry. I have a quick question.
Sure, Sherry.
Is the student bundle accessed on PMI.org?
Yes. So once you've purchased the student bundle, you will get a code and a link, I believe, that will take you to a PMI.org place where you'll be able to access your materials. So I think what's happening is once you do this, you're basically registering at PMI.org. You'll have an account, right? And your materials will be there in your account.
Okay, thank you.
This is Vishal. I have a similar question. So for the student bundle, when we can see that on our PMI account?
When can you see it?
Yeah, because
I'll
I
have
purchased some time back and I didn't receive any email or code to activate that. So that's why I can.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure, Vishal. Let me find out, and
Okay.
I will post an update here in the chat as soon as I get that information, okay?
Same for me as well, Salvation Manadam, please, because I don't see it on my PMI. So thank you.
Yes, I will get that information, and I'll more than likely just post it in the chat here for this meeting here, okay? But if you don't hear something or you can't find this chat somewhere tomorrow or the next day, feel free to reach right out to me and ask me, okay, to reconfirm. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions?
Yes, Cindy, this is Caesar. Just one quick question. So we just need the $200 bundle itself. We really don't need to buy the PMI, the 129 one. So the $200 will actually include the discount and the PM book, correct?
The $200 will give you the student bundle, which is all the PMI.org PowerPoint slides that we'll be reviewing, any worksheets that come with it, right? And then it's also going to give you a key code that you'll be able to apply for the PMP exam, right? So it's going to acknowledge that you've got your 35 hours, right, of education, right? But that's all that's included in that, right? Nothing else.
Okay. No, so it does
Okay.
not include the discount, right? The bundle itself.
It doesn't include the PMBOK 7th edition or the Agile study guide either. So
Right, none
by
of this.
getting PMI, you get those two included in your PMI membership.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, the student bundle is only for getting the materials that support this training class, right? This workshop, right? Along with the key code to be able to apply for the exam. Okay. But there's no other discounts or anything that are included with that $200. Now, if you're a PMN member, an AT&T Project Management Network member, right, and once we validate that, we can give you a code, right, that will give you 10% off your PMI org membership if you decide to do that, right, as well as any of the exam fees, right? So when you go to apply for the, exam, right, and they approve you, then you're going to go ahead and pay for the exam, right? then you would get a 10% discount off that exam fee. But also, once you're a PMI.org member, if you choose to do that, they're going to knock $250 too off of this exam fee. Okay?
Okay, understood. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome. Okay.
Can we get a copy of the schedule for Monday so we can read up on the materials that we want to, so we can be prepared for Monday?
Yeah, let me show you. So I believe it's this link right here on this page. And again, I attached a PDF of this presentation. So when you click on this link, and I'm going to pull this up on the page here. No, that's the wrong one. Bear with me. It's not that one. Maybe I've got the wrong. I think it's right here. Yeah, review the material before class. Click here for the schedule. So this is going to take you to the schedule, right? So did you see that link? It's right here. This is going to take you to the schedule. That's what you asked me for, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thanks so much.
Yeah, this is for the class schedule, okay? And it'll take you straight to this right here. So on Monday, we're going to be doing the foundation / strategic alignment, which is lesson 1. And if I can, I'll try to PDF that lesson 1 for you. Those slides 1 through 32, just to make sure y'all have them before class. Okay, I'll try to get those to you, PDF'd and sent out to you. Okay.
I have a question. So when you say lesson 1, is this lesson 1 from the PMBOK guide?
I'm sorry, ask that one more time.
So the schedule you were showing, it had lesson 1, which had foundation and strategic alignment. So is this PMBOK lesson 1? So we can read?
No. This is, the content is organized in lessons, right? So, and there are 6 lessons. So from lesson 1 to lesson 6, and some lessons will span over multiple classes, right? Okay. So the lesson is not necessarily aligned with the PMBOK.
Okay.
Okay. It is not the content. We're going to be covering a lot of content out of the PMBOK, right? Out of the various resources that I've shared with you so far. That's going to be covered as part of this content here, but it's not an exact follow-on of the PMBOK. Okay, but all the information that we would cover in the PMBOK, or you would read in the PMBOK, is touched on in this content here.
So we cannot come prepared. We can't read the lesson beforehand, before coming to the class. It's not aligned to any lesson in PMBOK. So I get it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So once you get access to the slides, you'll be able to look at the schedule and you say, okay, we're going to, like I said, on October 23rd, we're going to be talking about scope. That's in the lesson 3 section, and we're going to be covering slides 9 through 44. You go look through slides 9 through 44, and you go, okay, and then you can go to the PMBOK, and you can go to the other resources that you have, and start reading up on the topics that are going to be covered in lesson 3 on scope. Okay, you'll be able to find the relevant content. Okay.
Hey, Cindy.
Right.
What if for some reason an emergency or a vacation is preventing us to attend one of these sessions? Are there any remedial classes, or are we going to get the credit for the hours if we review the recording? How do we go about that?
Let me reconfirm that as to what our policy has been. And let me just back up. I know you, as the director, you might think I should know everything, and I probably should, and I will. I will know more. But
no problem.
I've been in my role for a couple of months, and this is the first time I've done the class. So these are great questions, and I will get them answered for you. Okay.
Thank
So
you,
if you
Cindy.
miss, you're welcome. What's our policy? Okay. Yeah, typically we'll offer you up the recording, but the thing is I mean, we will check the roll for who attends, right? If you've missed a lot, you know, we're kind of going to assume you probably haven't. You just haven't done the due diligence to be at the classes, right? Missing one class is not a problem. You know, you should go and listen to the recording, but I would say it's probably a case-by-case basis. We'll look at the roll call, right, and see who's been attending on a regular basis, what attendance looks like. But I'll get a formal answer for you for that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Maria. I have a question. What about if you're attending over the phone, but you're not able to maybe do video or connect because you're kind of on the go? Would that be acceptable?
As long as we can register that you're there, that's fine with me. You don't have to be on the video.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
So I clicked. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hey, Cindy, it's Sheila. Hey, I'd also like to add on to that. When you are logging on to, please use your full name when possible, because that's how it's registered on the attendance log. And if you just put a first initial or a last initial and we can't make out your name, yeah, you want to make sure that you are getting credit for participating. So I would advise you to please use your full name, even on a personal email. It's recommended that you use your AT&T email, ATTUID, because it does register with the team systems. But if you're logging in onto a personal email, we don't know who you are. So we have no way of verifying your email address. So just be aware of that. You want to get credit for participating.
Yes, yes. And if you're unsure and you want to make sure that, you know, we know that you were there, right? Because you're maybe logging in not under AT&T's network, right? You know, feel free to send the instructor a note, and we'll get that validation for you. Okay?
So the presentation you uploaded on SharePoint, I tried to click on the schedule and it denied my access.
Oh, it did? You shouldn't be denied access to this.
Mine is saying denied access as well.
Yeah. I'll have to find out why you might not have access to it yet. Let me give you this. Let me give you this link. Wait 1 second, and let me see if you can get to this page. So I just sent the link for those who just spoke. If you can click on that link and let me know if you see it, if you can access the page.
Yeah, the page is okay.
It will look. The page will. Okay, the page will look you in here, right? Okay, and then here's the schedule right here. Okay.
Hey, Cindy. Quick question.
Yes.
With on the PMI.org, is that where the PowerPoint slides are at, or?
Once you have purchased, you will get a link to where you will go to get the slides. I need to find out exactly how that works, what the mechanics are. But once you've paid your fee, you're going to get a code and a link that you'll be able to go to, follow, and that will take you to your materials.
Okay. Should I have gotten that link if I paid already?
You've already paid?
Yes.
Reginald. Okay, let me verify
I don't
Reginald.
think
How
it.
long ago?
It's been about two weeks ago.
Okay. And somebody was going to say something?
Yeah, I don't know if it, I mean, I know it sent me like a receipt, but I don't think it sends a link because it seems like if quite a few people didn't get a link.
Okay.
didn't
Yeah,
get
let me
it.
let me verify that. Okay, that's cool. Let me reach out to Trish Rosito. She's our president. She was on earlier. She'll tell me, and they may not be sending them out until we've got the final roster, so to say, of everybody who's paid. Okay, so I'll find out, and I'll shoot you a note and let you know. Okay.
Combating, you do have to answer the question.
All right.
Combating.
Any other questions?
Yes, Cindy. My name is Orlando. I
Orlando.
was in an orientation yesterday as a Pathfinder PM 101. Is that a different orientation from today, or is it a different course?
PM 1. Yes. So Orlando PM 101 is intended for people who are not quite sure if project management is what they're interested in, so to say. It gives them an introduction to project management principles, right? It's kind of our PM Light, so to say. So Trish Rosita, who was on earlier, she's the president of the PMN. She conducts that program there. But it's generally for someone who's not quite sure whether they're interested in going down the project management path and they want to get a little bit more information and kind of get immersed a little bit in project management. And it just sets them up for the next step of going on and getting their certification.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
So should you be attending this class if you're already like in a project management role, or should you take another class that you just mentioned?
Well, you do have to have 35 hours of professional development units, right, in order to, or education, right, in order to apply to take the PMP exam. This course gives you that requirement, okay? The PM 101 does not. So you would have, if you're taking some other courses, not PM 101, as Orlando mentioned, or this course, you need to make sure that whatever coursework you're taking is acceptable to the PMI, right?
Okay.
This course here that I've described tonight satisfies that requirement for PMI.org application.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Hey, Cindy. This is Tavanya. So I am already PMP certified. I'm in a project management role. I've had my certification for years. I don't need to recertify, but I'm very interested in attending and listening in just as a refresher because it's been so long. The PMBOK has changed several times over. And so is it okay for me to attend without having to purchase the materials? I don't need to take the test.
I personally don't have a concern with you attending, Tavanya, not at all.
Okay.
You wouldn't have access necessarily to the materials though.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to pay. Okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
Okay.
great, and I'm sure that people will be very interested in your perspective from time to time as you are, listening to the content and engaging as we go along.
Awesome.
They would love
Thank
to
you
hear
so
what you
much.
have to say.
And I can download a copy because I'm a member of PMI. And then I was going to say something else. So I'll be sure to read that. But yeah, thank you so much, Cindy.
You're welcome. Let me know. I would probably have to add you to the meeting series, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, just let me know, okay? If it's on Monday, if you wouldn't mind just sending me a note and I'll forward the series to you, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is Sherry.
Yes, Sherry.
Hi. There's a possibility that I'll be surplused and off the payroll before this class ends, but I really don't know yet. It could be next year, but it's coming because I'm in wave 3. I'm in IT and I'm in St. Louis. So does that mean I would just continue on my personal email and personal laptop, or should I just go ahead and update my email notification to my personal email? Or
I think it's perfectly fine for you to stay just like you are, and then just let us know if you do end up rolling off, okay? But you'll be able to finish the coursework.
oh, okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Great questions.
Another question. So I already paid for the student bundle, and if we don't get the link to the classes by Monday, who do we reach out to?
You can reach back out to me, Seema. That'll be fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right.
Cindy, are some of these
Yes.
courses reimbursable to AT&T, or do they still have that student aid, financial aid for employees, or is
That's a
it
great
a
question.
case-to-case basis?
Yeah, Ronald, it is. Absolutely. It's a great question. It is a case-by-case business basis. Your department, will make the determination as to whether they will reimburse you or not for the courses, okay?
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And I would suggest, if you, it is better to tell your management ahead of time, right? And ask them
That's right.
if there's money in the budget to be able to support you in this endeavor. Some will have the money and some will not. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So when we know it will be assigned to a mentor for the class.
I think Crystal usually assigns those within the first week or so.
Okay.
So it should be relatively soon. Okay. I'll reach out to Crystal, but I know she'll be communicating as well. Okay. As soon as she gets the final roster, she usually, works pretty quickly to get everybody grouped up into their mentors.
And are those usually about an hour, or like how do those what do those really look like? So there's 1 hour during the week?
Yeah, it's usually an hour during the week. She'll call in the mentor will call an additional, an initial meeting with the mentees, and of course, try to figure out what's the best date and time for y'all to meet, based off everybody's schedules. So the mentor will very much try to, accommodate schedules of the group, and then the schedule will be set for you. Okay, but usually it's an hour, and I think they try to make it happen, like usually over a lunch hour or after the end of the business day is usually when they try to make those happen. Okay. All right. Well, if there's not any other questions, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. But you will be, again, getting the schedule no later than Monday. If you have any questions at all before then, feel free to reach out to me directly. If you think it's a question that might be useful to everybody else, feel free to use the chat for this meeting as well, okay? But you can certainly just reach out to me directly, and I'll get an answer for you as quickly as possible, okay?
All right. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks, Cindy.
Excited. You're welcome, and I'll be with you until Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
You're welcome. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
You too.